In this video, I want to talk about a commonly used technique for firm valuation, and in particular for the valuation of very early stage startup firms that I'm going to call comparables valuation. You should think of this as a shortcut method for what we discussed in the previous videos. So what is comparables valuation, or sometimes called multiples valuation? The idea is I have a firm that I want to obtain a number for. So I have an early stage company, and I want to know how much that company is worth. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look around for companies that are similar to mine along some dimensions, but for which I have value from some source. It could be because they are publicly traded. So given that they are traded in some stock market, I can just go look at what the value of those companies is. Or it could be because they have just raised money, and so I know the value that was attributed to them because they raised money, say, from a venture capital firm or from a group of angel investors. It could also be because those firms were just bought or sold, in which case I know the value at which they were bought. Okay? Suppose it's an early stage company that got bought by a large incumbent. I may know what the price was that was paid to buy all of the shares in that company. I want to use that information to learn something about the value of my own early stage company. Okay? Now, how do I go about doing that? It's actually a very, very simple procedure. First, I want to look and try to find comparable firms. Suppose I have a company that manufactures a medical device. What I want to do is go look for other companies that are in the same industry as I am. So if I'm manufacturing a medical device, I don't want to use car companies or airlines as my comparables. I want to try to find other companies that are manufacturing medical devices. Ideally, medical devices in the same general area that I operate in. Okay? Ideally also, I want to use firms that are of similar size and, if possible, of a similar age. It is sometimes not possible to find firms that are exactly in the same bin as I am, if you want, in terms of the risk, the industry, the size, and the age, but I want to do my best to try to find as close a company as I can. Then what do? I look at those comparable firms, and I want to compute a ratio that has some measure of value, for example, the firm value, and some measure of fundamental about that firm. So this first multiple that I have here, this first ratio, has the firm value to earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization, which is a common proxy for the cash flows that the firm is generating. Why is this a helpful number? Well, because usually I have some measure of a fundamental value for my own firm. What I don't have is my firm's value. Now, if I can compute that ratio for someone else that looks like me, then I can multiply my own fundamental by that ratio. Let me try to explain what I mean. Suppose I will go to this ratio down here because it is one that is very commonly used for early stage companies. So the firm value to sales multiple. So suppose that my own sales in my early stage company are $100,000. So I have a company that is operating and I produce $100,000 in sales over a year. Okay. Suppose also that I can find another firm out there that is similar to mine, and that other firm is as follows. the sales for the comparable firm are, say, $500,000. So it's bigger than me. It's another company. It's still pretty small. It only generates $500,000 in sales, but it's still bigger than mine. Mine is just $100,000. And suppose I know that that other small firm that manufactures or is in the same kind of tech area as I am, or in the same medical device area that I am, was bought, and the value for which it was bought, so the firm value, suppose I know that this was $3 million. Okay, so all of this is in dollars. The above is in thousands, and I know that the value for the comparable firm was $3 million. Well then, this ratio that I have here, or firm value to sales, is 6, right? So I know that the value to sales in this case is 6. Now remember that what I'm interested in, and just to be clear that everybody's following, this is $3 million of value divided by the sales of $500,000 that the firm has. Remember that what I'm interested in is my own value, the value of my own firm that produces $100,000 in revenue. Now you can see where I'm going to go. All I have to do is multiply the ratio that I obtained by my own accounting value. So let's do that over here. So my own value is going to be what? $100,000 of sales that I produce times 6. So the best measure that I have for how much my own firm is worth is $600,000. This is a very simple procedure that does not require discounting many cash flows, because in a way, we are using the fact that someone else did all of that discounting to come up with this $3 million number. And we're just borrowing the valuation that somebody else did in order to produce our own valuation for our own firm. Now, usually we do this for many firms rather than just one, as I just did. We want to do this across many, many firms so that those ratios are reliable. And then I may have a pretty good estimate for the value of my own firm. Now, this type of procedure really relies on finding comparable companies. And so if the firm is growing much faster than the comparables, if your own firm is growing much faster than the other comparables out there, you're unlikely to obtain a good estimate for your own firm by doing this. Similarly, if your firm has no debt, but the comparable firms all have a lot of debt, you're unlikely to be obtaining a very good estimate. If your firm is not profitable and all your comparable firms are very profitable, again, you're not going to obtain a good estimate of the value. This procedure, while very quick and very convenient, is only robust if you can find firms that look a lot like the one you are trying to value.